this video I'm going to discuss about the very first unit of our geography, that is Topography of Pakistan. Before starting this one, let me clarify this word topography over here, which is basically the combination of two words, that is topo, which means the surface, and graphy means study, means the study of surface. And mainly in this video I'm going to discuss about the topographic regions of Pakistan, because we have to study this chapter related with all these regions, and there are certain factors over here which are basically interlinked and attached with these regions. So let's see first of all that what regions we have over here in Pakistan. Number one, northern and northwestern mountains. Then we have western mountains, Potra Plateau, Salt Range, Balochistan Plateau, Indus Plain, that is upper and lower Indus, which is being considered also as Punjab and Sindh, and the desert regions. There are certain other things which are basically interlinked with all these regions, but in this video I'm going to discuss only two things over here which are major aspects related with all these regions. Number one, over here we have relief, so we are going to discuss about the relief of all these regions, and secondly about the drainage of all these regions. There are certain other things, for example, the economic potential of these regions, the lifestyle of the people living over here. So we will discuss that inshallah in the next video, but this video is mainly related with these. I hope that this video would help you people to identify your location and to label your maps. Before I start these regions, let me clarify a little introduction about that what are relief features and what are drainage. When we talk about relief features, for example, we have highlands. Altitude means heights. Then steep slopes. There are certain slopes we have uniform, gentle and steep. The rugged landscape, which are basically the irregular landscapes. Flatlands, for example the plain areas. Deep valleys. These are few examples that we have over here regarding the relief features. If we talk about the drainage, rainfall and the melting of glaciers, these are the two sources or the factors behind the drainage system of Pakistan. Here are a few pictures for the visualization. This is the picture of a rain, then a rugged landscape, melting snow, or a deep valley. So this is what we have as an introduction of relief feature and the drainage. Starting from the very first topographic region of Pakistan, mountain ranges related with the north and the northwestern. As I said that I'm going to discuss about the relief and the drainage of all these regions. So I'm going to discuss about the relief first of all, and I'll move in order. So here we have a map over here in the screen. When we talk about the north and northwestern mountain ranges of Pakistan. For that, let me have a laser point over here so that I could point out the places actually. So let's start from the very first one. If we talk about the northern mountain ranges, Karakoram range, number one over here. This is we have the first location. Please identify these locations very carefully because you people are basically bound to attempt these questions when these questions comes into the paper. So labeling is something which has been asked. Number two, we have over here Himalaya range. This over here is basically the Himalayas, the complete Himalayas. It is basically stretches until the northern India as well. So there are certain other subtypes of Himalayas. For example, the greater Himalayas over here, this one. Then we have the lesser Himalayas or the outer Himalayas. And the last one we have Sivaliks. So these are over here, the Sivaliks. Please watch my pointer carefully because I'm going to show these locations over here on the map. And this is how you people have to identify these locations as well, because later on you have to attempt it. Then if we talk about the northwestern areas, so this is our northwestern direction over here, and the mountain range we have over here is Hindu Kush. So this is the location of Hindu Kush. This is the relief that or the mountain ranges we have of north and northwestern. Moving forward, the drainage of these north and northwestern mountains. So here we have a map of rivers. Starting from the very first thing, if we talk about Himalayas, then Himalayas basically are the reason behind the eastern tributaries of Indus, that is Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj and Beas, which basically moves from northeast to southwest. So these are the eastern tributaries. You can see my pointer over here. These are basically the one which originates from the Himalayas, and these are the eastern tributaries of Indus, and this is basically your Indus. You can watch it on the screen as well. That is Indus, which is moving from north towards south and falling into the Arabian Sea, passing from the upper and the lower Indus plain. The second region we have over here is Karakoram, and that is the western tributaries of Indus, and river Gilgit is basically the part of this tributary, which basically obviously interlinked with the Indus and fall directly into the Indus. Then we have Hindu Kush, as we discussed in the previous picture over here, that is in the north west area of Pakistan, and the major river over here, or the drainage that we talk about, is Mastuj. Over here there is written Mastung, that is basically Mastuj, not Mastung. That is the western tributary of Indus. So it is also something, a river which is basically entering into the Indus. So this is we have regarding the drainage of the north and northwestern. Please do remember the locations of the rivers over here, because this map would come again in the upcoming slide as well. Next one we have the western mountain ranges. That is another topographic region. So the first thing we have for the relief, first of all, that what are basically the identified location of this western mountain ranges. Number one, Safed Ko, that is the location of Safed Ko we have over here. Number two, Waziristan Hills, you can see that the highlighted areas over here in the boxes. Number three, Suleiman Range, this is something you need to locate. Number four, Central Baruhi Range, and number five is the Kirthar Range, and that is on the western side of the Indus. You could see that is Indus, and all these are basically the western mountain ranges of Pakistan. So moving towards again the drainage related with that, because we discussed about the relief of it, now we are going to discuss about the drainage. The same river over here, but this time we are going to discuss about the western areas or the western mountain ranges related with the drainage of these mountain ranges. Number one, when we talk about the Safed Ko range that we discussed in the previous map over here, then river Kabul over here is basically coming from the Safed Ko range and falling into the Indus. If we talk about the Waziristan Hills, then the Kurram and Tochi and Gomal, that is Kurram, that is Gomal, Tochi is somewhere over here as well. So these rivers are basically coming from the Waziristan Hills and falling into the Indus River. Then we have the Kirthar Range, which is basically over here, and the hub river is basically coming from the Kirthar Range, but you could see that the location of this hub is over here, and it is not falling into the Indus, it is directly falling into the Arabian Sea, because when we talk about the Sindh area, Indus is basically alone in this area and directly fall into the Arabian Sea. So that is the location of our western mountain ranges and their drainage systems, means the river locations. When we talk about the next one, Potwar and Salt Range, along with that the Balochistan Plateau. I have mentioned these two topographic regions over here because I want to show you people first of all the exact location of the Potwar and the Balochistan Plateau along with the Salt Range. So if I talk about the Potwar Plateau, let me move towards the map first of all as well, because now it would be easier for you people to identify. Here you could see that that is the location of Potwar Plateau, and right in the south of the Potwar Plateau we have the Salt Range. This is your Balochistan Plateau, and if I talk about the points over here, for example, if I talk about the drainage system of these plateaus or these ranges, then if we talk about Potwar Plateau, then river Swan along with other small rivers is basically the part of drainage in Potwar Plateau. If we talk about the Salt Range, which is over here in the south of Potwar Plateau, then the river interlinked related with the Salt Range is basically the saline, the salty lakes, for example, Kalar Kahar, which we basically experience when we move from Lahore to Islamabad. So Kalar Kahar is one point, we cross from that point as well. And Khabeki lake as well, which is in the northern side of it. And there are certain other small rivers like the Kyura river in the south portion of the Salt Range. So the Khabeki and Kalar Kahar are in the northern part of Salt Range, and the Kyura river or the other small rivers are basically the southern portion of the Salt Range. These are the drainages. When we talk about the Balochistan Plateau over here, then we talk about the Zob, river, which is in the north, Dasht in the south, and Hamune Mashkhil is a lake which is in the central Balochistan. In this picture, there is one more picture over here that I attached to show you people the exact location of Hamune Mashkhil. So here we have the exact location of Hamune Mashkhil in the Balochistan Plateau. And if your people are thinking about the Zob river, which is in the north, and Dasht in the south, then I have shown you people over here in the previous diagram. That is Dasht, which is directly falling into the Arabian Sea, and that is Hub, that is Zob. This is the location of Zob. So these are basically the part of Balochistan Plateau, the drainage related with the Balochistan Plateau. So this is we have related with the Portwar, Salt Range, and the Balochistan Plateau. I hope that you people are identifying the locations clearly. Moving towards the next one, we have Indus Plain, that is upper and lower Indus Plain, which is Punjab and Sindh. That is the relief now and drainage about this topographic region. So here we have the map. The green portion over here is basically the upper Indus, that is Punjab province, and this yellow portion only over here, which is in dotted lines, is basically the lower Indus Plain, which is Sindh. This portion that we have, a blank portion over here, is basically a desert area. We'll discuss about the desert in the upcoming slide. So let's see their relief, that what kind of an area is this, or what kind of a topography we have over here in the Indus Plain. These areas are basically flat and fertile because they are basically rich in agriculture because of the river tributaries over there. Eastern tributaries of Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, and Beas. These are the part of upper Indus. I'm talking about Beas over here. Beas is not in this map, but let me tell you that Beas is a river which is basically the part of Satluj before entering into Pakistan. It enters into Satluj before enter over here. Moving next, Indus River moves alone in the lower Indus, that is Sindh. As I said that from here to onwards, from the southern Punjab till the Arabian Sea, the Indus move alone, and obviously the width of the river over here is more as compared to the upper portion. Then we have the Indus Delta in the lower Indus Plain, that is Chhatta. We will discuss about the delta in detail later. Then Doabs. The Doabs basically the land between two rivers. So these are the river places, and the central location over here, the land between any two rivers, that has been declared as Doabs. And we also used to see the active and old flood plain along with the Piedmont plains over here as well. We will discuss these definitions as well later. The last one we have is deserts. You could see the location over here regarding the deserts. For example, we have the yellow portion over here, which is basically one desert, and the second, then third one, and the fourth one. So let's discuss about these one. Number one over here is Thal Desert, that is central Punjab between river Indus and Jhelum, that is Thal, where you could see the pointer. Number two, we have Thar Desert, which is basically divided into three: Cholistan, southern Punjab, this portion. Please watch the pointer carefully. Then Nara, eastern Sindh, this portion, and Tharparkar, that is the southeastern Sindh. That is the third position over here regarding the Thar Desert. Then we have Kharan, that is Kharan, which is in Balochistan, western Balochistan. And the features, if we talk about the features of the deserts over here, because if we talk about drainage, then we know that desert have a very low rainfall. We are not saying that there is no rainfall over there, but a very low rainfall. But the features over here are the sand dunes, and this is how they look like. So this is it related with the locations and the drainage of all the regions we have. And these regions are basically the topographic regions of Pakistan. I hope that you people have seen all these locations carefully, and I would request you people to kindly practice these locations with the help of this video. Identify these because it would help you people to have a temptation of your papers when any kind of a map would come. Thank you so much. Please subscribe the channel and like the video, and do comment if you think that this video is useful. For the upcoming videos, keep watching. Khuda Hafiz.